legitimate strategy? Sure, that works. So you could have gone y equals mx plus b, and then you would have had to make that look like that. And to do that, you would have had y equals negative x plus 1, and then you could graph it. What else could you have done? There's another option that you could have used to solve this, to graph it. What is that? I know a great many of you didn't bother to do this, but you should still be able to tell me what you would have done if you had bothered to do this.
X and Y-intercept.
You could have done x and y intercepts, right? That's an x, so what goes there? 0, or x. And then what goes there?
0,
Y. So you could have done that move, which would have gotten you y equals 0 equals 1 minus x, and y equals 1 minus 0. You could have done that. What's your third option? You could have done a table of values and graphed it that way. Everyone should have been able to do one of those three. I know it took a long time. It took 45 seconds to do all three of them. I know you have very busy weekends and it's hard to find 45 spare seconds. So, plus 1 and a slope of negative 1. This is your line. And the x and y-intercept, the x-intercept is 1, 0, and the y-intercept is 0, 1 for 2 marks. So you needed 1, 0, 0, 1, and the line. And your total in marks now is 13. 1 mark for each of these, putting them into slope-intercept form, which means getting y isolated. Now, one person in the room, one time, had enough confidence to say, Mr. Myers, I'm not so hot at the algebra. I understand what you're doing, I'm just not so hot at it. So, once again, I will remind you that you can do it in 1 or 2 steps if you are good at algebra. If you're a little dodgy with algebra, then you want to take more steps. The more steps you take, the less chance you have of messing it up. How do I make that look like that? I need to get y isolated and positive. There is y. Is he either isolated or positive? The teacher waited patiently, hoping against hope that somebody would answer the question. Is y positive or isolated? His hope flowed away from him like a slowly melting glacier in a hot day. You're making a substitution? I know. I'm hoping that too, Aiden. Maybe it'll happen. Chances are slim, though. Is I either, or y, either positive or isolated? I'm just looking for a one word from one person that isn't Wong, Ayaka, or Aiden. One word. That's all I'm looking for. I'm begging you. We're 4 months in. Somebody answer the damn question. Positive. Thank you. Y is positive. Therefore, should y move? No, because if I move something positive, what will it become? Negative. So we're not going to move y, which means what has to move? Every other thing. William, is that 3 a positive 3 or a negative 3? It is a positive right now, and it has to move away from the y. There are 2 ways you can make that happen. One of them is to write minus 3x. If you do that to that side, what do you have to do over here? Minus 3x. So I would have 2y minus 4 equals negative 3x. Now what's in the way? Again, I go back to the y. Is he positive? Is it isolated? It is still positive, so we're still not moving it. Is it isolated? No. What's in the way of it being isolated? Negative 4. How do I get rid of negative 4? I add 4. So now I have 2y equals negative 3x plus 4. Go back to the y. Is it isolated? No. What needs to be removed? The 2. What math is happening to the 2? Multiply. So what math will get rid of multiply? Divide. Y equals negative 3 halves x plus 2. All of that gets you the 1 mark available to you. Then you're going to do the same thing down here. You're going to start with y. Is y isolated or positive? I'll put the little purple circle over it to help you see it. Y right there. Is it isolated? Okay, let's quick English lesson. What does isolate mean? Get it? You're by itself. Right now, who is the one person in the room that is isolated from everyone else? Me. Because I'm facing you and I'm up here. Is y isolated? Nice. Is y positive? No. So both things need to be fixed. So y's got to move. When I move that y, I am going to get x minus 8 equals 4y. Because when I move it over, I can change the sign. All that is this step from grade 6 when Mrs. Bad Crumble taught you algebra for the first time. Grade 10, after 4 years of practice, we'd like to think you've picked up on the pattern and you can just move stuff over the equal sign. Is y isolated? No. What must I get rid of? 4. 4 is multiplying right now. I do not want him there, so I divide by 4. This problem right here always messes you guys up because you forget that x has what in front of it? 1. So this is 1/4 x minus 2 equals y. And now that's done. To give yourself 2 marks there. I'm going to shrink this down a little so it is all visible on the screen at once. Distance time graph illustrates Christine's walk in front of a motion sensor. Her distance from the sensor in meters is represented by d and time in seconds by t. Identify the slope and the d-intercept and explain what they mean. What is the slope of this line? Is it on a graph? Yes. So can we count it? Yes. As long as I count from anywhere to anywhere, it works. Ideally, I should go point to point, though, shouldn't I? There is a first point to start. Tell me when I should stop. What is my rise? 2, 3, 4, 5. 3. Is that positive or negative? Positive. What is my run? 2. So my slope is 3 halves, yes? That gets you 1 mark. Well, yeah, sure, 1 mark. Why not? What is the D-intercept? Two. That gets you 1 mark. What do they mean? That gets you 1 mark as well. What does the slope mean? The rise over run. What does it mean? Don't tell me what it is, because I know it's 3 over 2. Don't tell me that it's rise over run, because I know that, because that's what slope is. I want to know what it means. It is the speed. We've done this to death. It means she goes 3 meters in 2 seconds. Because it is the change in distance divided by the change in time. Minutes, meters over seconds, kilometers over hours, right? So that is the speed for 1 mark. And what is the D-intercept? It's 2. What does it mean? Starting point. She's 2 meters away from the motion sensor. So that is 1 mark each there, making that first question out of 4. B, write an equation that describes her walk. Do you have a D-intercept? Do you have a slope? So you know that y equals mx plus b uses x's, y's, slopes, and y-intercepts, yes? Yeah. But I don't have x's and y's anymore, do I? What do I have? D's and t's. So d equals 3/2 t plus 2 for 1 mark. And C, when was she 6 meters from the sensor? 6. Go out here. Go down. Does that give you an exact answer? No. The best you can do there is a guess. I would give you 1 point for it still. How do I get a better answer for C? What can I do with that 6 to get a perfect answer? Put it in the equation. Does 6 go in for D or T? D, because it is 6 meters. 6 equals 3 over 2 t plus 2. Bring the 2 over there. 4 equals 3 over 2 t. Multiply both sides by 2. 8 equals 3 over t. Divide both sides by 3. T equals 8/3, which is 2 2/3, which is pretty darn close to where our guess was. All that for 1 point, making that question out of 6. And finally, the hardest question you have done all year on anything. What makes this question difficult? A few things. 1, big numbers. 2, weird numbers, right? It's not y minus 6 equals 2 times x plus 4, right? They're big numbers. But when you stop and think about it, it's not that difficult. Because what is being counted here? There's 2 things that are being counted. What are they? If you didn't do this question, you should be paying attention. If you did do this question, you already know this answer. So somebody should be able to tell me the 2 things that are being counted here.
Year and number of girls.
Right. There's a time, and there's a number of girls. Which one is independent? Time, because time is almost always independent. If time is independent variable, then we usually put it on the x-axis, don't we? So doesn't that mean that every year would be an x value? And number of girls, therefore, is the dependent variable. And that normally goes on the y-axis, doesn't it? Everyone agree? So, do I have some ordered pairs? I do, don't I? From January 1990 to January 2010, that's the span I'm going, right? So, January 1990, you could say is year 0, couldn't you? Everyone okay with that? It's the first year I'm starting with. Is everyone good? Okay. So 1990 equals 0 on the x-axis, which means my x-axis is going up to what number? I'm going to January 2010. So what's the biggest x value I have? He waited patiently. 20. Do I have any y values? What is the y value I have? I have the number of girls playing hockey. When? January 2000. What is that on the x-axis? If 1990 is 0, 2010 is 20, what's 19, or what is 2000? 10. 10. And the number of girls is 45,400. That is what? A y or an x value? That's a y value. Does everyone follow what has happened here? Every graph counts two things, an independent variable and dependent variable. Is everybody cool with that? The other thing graphs have is a rate of change, correct? The rate of change is the slope. What is the rate of change for girls? If I go over 1 year, how many more girls are playing hockey? 4,162. So my M is 4,162. Do I have an M? Do I have an X? Do I have a Y? Do I now have a slope and a point? Can I now write my equation? It would be y minus what? 45,400 equals, what's my M? 162. And my X, then minus what? 10. There's my equation. When you do that, you can figure it out. Now, use the equation to determine the number of girls playing hockey in 2009. What x value is that? 9, correct? Everyone agree? So that x value, x equals 9. So where does that go? One sec. I know it's not. Is it 9? Good. Now, can I use it? Is that an x or a y value? It says x equals 19. Do I see an x anywhere in that equation?
Yes.
Right there, which means what number can I write there? 19. Y minus 45,400 equals 4,162 times what is 19 minus 10? 9. So y minus 45,400 equals 4,162 times 9, which I cannot do in my head. I wish I could, but I can't. I can, but it would take too long. Longer than it will take one of you to punch it into the calculator. Okay, it's 41,620 minus 41,662, so it's 8. 12 minus 6 is 6. 5 minus 1 is 4. 11 minus 4 is 7. 37,468. Then what? I add the 45,400. $83,868. If I did that right, but I did that in very quickly. I don't care about the numbers because the method is the same. It's just as easy for you to have hit a button wrong on your calculator and believed your calculator. Your other option to solve this is a table of values, yes? I saw at least one person had a table of values that had 1990 in the X and a bunch of blanks in the Y, and then they had 2009 or whatever year we knew. No, we knew 2000, and it was 45,400. And then because you knew it was a line, they worked out and they knew it was going up by 4,162. So they went 2001 and added 4,162. Then they did 2002 and added 4,162. Is that legitimate? Did it get you the right answer? Does it prove to me that you understand point slope form? No. So, for this question, you really needed to make the equation. I'm making the whole thing out of 4. If you use the table of values, you can have a maximum of 2. Because you didn't do what I asked you to do. Since that is out of 4, and that is out of 6, that's 10, and 2 is 12, plus the original 13. The whole thing is out of, as Ayaka just said, 25. I have a list of what the maximum you could get is, so do not lie. You will report those grades to me when? On the test, which is on?
I think on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Why?
Because they're not.
Because I'm away. Nice work.
We need to write
Is it for rugby?
I'm refereeing rugby. Yeah. But they've just sent an email that says some people are only going to be needed in the afternoon. So I may still be here Wednesday.
Mr. Myers, we need to write this.
You have 2 scores to write for me. One is out of 25, and the other one was out of 42. That sounds right. Now, if everyone could please turn to the next page in their books. This unit is not a real unit. Because it's exactly what we've already been doing, but I'm taking away the graphing option. So what we're going to do is do exactly what we've been doing in this whole last unit with no graphs. So if you were a little dodgy on your algebra, this little mini unit will be extraordinarily helpful. Okay, we've got a couple of pages of notes, which we will do. And then there is an assignment. Now, listen carefully to me, please. The assignment is, I am going to ask you to do that on Friday. All right? So we're going to do the notes for this through the rest of today. Then I'm going to let you have a bit of time with your notes and your reviews to prepare, because we're having our test Wednesday. Tomorrow, if you look in the last unit of our course, which is linear systems, which I do not want you to do, but the very first lesson of linear systems is using graphing to solve them. So it will take the last unit that we just did, and you will be using that again right away. So I don't mind using that lesson tomorrow, because it will be good review for your graphing test on Wednesday. All right? And then Thursday, we'll go over that graphing test, because I will get it marked. A bunch of people will skip the test, of course, but I will just make them write it on the short day Thursday. On Thursday, we'll go over the graphing test. And then Friday, you will do this assignment. Because the other half of the next unit has nothing to do with graphing. It's all algebra. Everybody cool? Right. Now, just to keep you aware of timelines, this is where we are right now. Today is May 30th. May 28th. There I am. May 28th. 5 classes this week, all of them spoken for. 5 classes next week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. May 18th. 11 more classes. In that time, we are writing a test on systems, the entirety of the systems unit. You're going to get one more cumulative on graphing and on functions, everything about functions. You're going to get one more cumulative, so that takes up one of those classes. That systems test takes up one of those classes. So now we have, like I said, 15 more, 5, 10, 15, 16 more classes, of which 1, 2, 3, 4 are spoken for assessment, tests and assignments. That leaves me with 12 classes. If you look on the linear systems, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 5 lessons for it. So that takes us down to 7 classes left for review purposes. Now, I will use, that's assuming everything goes perfectly. 7 is a good amount of review classes. It's actually too many, really. But what I want to discuss is some of you are a little bit concerned about your grade all of a sudden. This week right here, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, that's all been designated as credit recovery. So let's say even though you have had 2 chances at every single unit in our whole course, if you're still poopy, that's when you try to come and fix it. Right?
The X block?
There's X blocks every day that week, and one of those days you are in this class for the morning. So you have that morning's class and the X block, and I believe it is the 19th that is happening. You will be here for the first block for an hour and a half, the usual amount of time, then there will be an X block. A great many of you should stay. Your final is on the 22nd. I will not be available on the 22nd to help you in any way. Do you understand? because your exam is in the afternoon. I have to spend the entire morning preparing it. The reason I will be preparing it then is because I will have had these 3 days to see what my students are asking about. And I can tailor my exam. All right? So do not count on any time with me on June 22nd. Clear? You will come in, write your test, and be done. I don't know where the test is yet. You will know as soon as I know. But I have 3 classes to prepare for. Okay? Okay.
How long is the test?
The test is an hour-long test that will take you all 2 hours, that we give you 3 hours to do, as far as I know. Okay? Okay. Let us carry on then, cabbages. So we are on page, I do not know because I think my page numbers are still messed up. Is it page 220?
Yeah.
Sweet, my page numbers aren't messed up. What are the 4 forms we can use to write a linear function? Slope, intercept, and make sure you name them. I know you don't need to write these down because you get them, but the fact that too often people don't have this answer for me is proof you should write it down. Slope intercept looks like what?
Y equal mx plus b.
And what do you know about slope intercept form? Apparently nothing. Somebody in the room knows something about slope intercept form.
Y over 1.
You know that m is the slope, which is also rise over run, and what else?
Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
So if all those things equal m, can I put any one of those things into slope intercept form? Yes, excellent. What else do you know from slope intercept form? B is the y-intercept, which means, what else do we know about the y-intercept? Automatically, what is it? Somebody in the room knows something about the y-intercept. It is 0, comma y. Wonderful. Do we know anything else about slope intercept form? Yes, we do. Slope intercept form has an x and a y, so I can substitute in points. Everybody knows that. Now, how do I get slope intercept form? I get this info by doing what? What do I have to do to any equation to get this info? This info, how? What do I have to do to get all this info? Yeah, but what if I don't have this? What do I have to do to an equation to get this info? What has to happen? Yes, I get this info by isolating y. No matter what, if y is isolated, you automatically know the slope and the y-intercept. as soon as you have isolated y, no matter what form you start in. What's the next form that we know? We know point slope. Or slope point, depending on who wrote the test. What does it look like?
Y minus y1 equals n bracket n plus 1.
Excellent. What do I know about that? Well, I know the same stuff about m. And what do I know about x1 and y1? Is what? What is x1 and y1? It's a known point, except there's a star there, isn't it? What do I know about that point? We must change the sign. So, that covers that, and that, correct? What's the only thing left over?
General point.
No. What's the only thing left over in point slope? An x and a y. And if I have an x and a y left over, what can I do with x and y's? I can sub in a point. And that goes where the yellow is. And the third and fourth forms are exactly the same, so I'm only going to write one of them because we're running out of room. And general form is pretty useless. About the only thing general form is good for is finding intercepts. And what are those two intercepts? Every single two intercepts, what are they? No. They are x, 0, and
Y, 0, Y.
0, y. Because it is x, where does that go in general form? Does it go in for x, y, c, or a, b, c, or x or y? Guess again. It goes in for x. Where does 0 go?
In the B.
Guess again.
Oh, in the Y.
In for y. Where does that 0 go?
In the X.
In for x. Where does that y go?
In the Y.
In for y. And then you can solve. Everybody should already know all those. And then there's, of course, the fourth one, the ugly cousin,
The standard.
standard form, which is the exact same thing, but it equals c. And then all the other rules apply. All right, here we go. Number 1, good practice for Wednesday. Which of those 4 forms will answer me number 1 immediately? Why would you choose slope intercept? Because I'm given a slope and a y-intercept. So, every single person, without saying out loud, take that yellow information and put it into this equation so you know the equation of that line. What goes where? I'm going to wait a moment for you to write it down. I'm not going to ask anybody to say it out loud because I know the 3 people that would say it out loud are going to get it right. Everybody else can just write it down.
Would you like to do it purposely wrong?
No. I only have 2 eyes, and stabbing pencils into them hurts. That's really why I wear glasses. And this answer, without any hesitation from all 28 of you, is y equals 5x plus 4. If you did not write that, then there should be a stampede to the front of my room to sign up for X Block on Thursday. No stampede, so everybody wrote it. Now, make that look like these. Go. If you need a reminder. There are some rules about standard and general form that I did not remind you of because I want to see if you remember those rules. Before I write down the right answers, I will ask if anybody is willing to volunteer any of those rules. Job satisfaction is high today. Any one of 28 people. Go ahead, the 3 people that actually say things. Then at least I will have that. Any one of the rules about general or standard form. I'll take anything.
The x has to be positive.
The A has to be positive, yes.
Or x is coefficient.
A is positive. Any other rules? No fractions, which automatically means what?
If there is a fraction, you have to...
Yeah, but it also covers another thing in math that are exactly like fractions, but aren't. Decimals. No fractions and no decimals. So, do I have to worry about either of those things? Not right here. Is x positive? Yes, he is. So should x be moved? No. What needs to move? Y. 5x. Is y positive right now? So if it goes over here, what happens? Negative y. Can that 4 be there?
No.
Not in standard form. So that 4 would have to come over here, correct? Which would mean what would happen to it? It will turn negative. Is this the same as negative 4 equals 5x minus y?
Yeah.
Yes, they are both acceptable. The only difference over here, the 4 joins everybody else, and I have 5x minus y plus 4 equals 0. Is everybody good? It's the easiest thing we can do in this unit. Let's do this one. What do I have now? Tell me the information that this question gives me.
Slope and the x and the y-intercept.
It gives me a slope and a point.
Oh,
Which form will I use? Point slope. Is this a known point? Is that a point on the graph? So does that mean we can put it into point slope form? Point slope form being y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Where can that point go? This one tricks you guys because there's two x's and two y's. And this is an x and a y. So where can we put those?
the y1 and the x1.
Right. So y minus what?
-1, 2.
Y minus -2. Now we wouldn't write it that way, would we?
So plus 2.
How would we write it?
Positive 2.
Y plus 2 equals m,
M is 2 over 3.
2/3, x minus what?
6.
6. There is my equation. I will rewrite it right here at the top of page 221 while you all make this happen. Turn that into standard, general, and slope-intercept form. Is there a right order to do this in?
No.
No. Who decides the order you do this in?
Plus.
You do, because you are only using algebraic principles. Look at what scares you there, because you all know it's the fraction, and decide how you're going to deal with it. I have showed you at least 4 or 5 ways to fix that fraction. All right, 2 things had to be gotten rid of there. The fraction and what else? The brackets. Does it matter what you get rid of first?
No.
No. How many people want to get rid of the fraction first? 1? Great. So Michael, how do I get rid of this divided by 3? I multiply the whole side by 3. That only affects what part of it? It only affects that side of the equal sign. And does it affect the 2, the 3, or the brackets? Just the 3. And what does it do to just that 3? Kills it. Leaving you with 2 bracket x minus 6. Everybody okay? Now, everybody else said they wanted to get rid of the brackets first. That's okay. How do I get rid of brackets? I multiply that in, correct? So I would have gotten 2/3 x minus, what's 2 times 6? 12 over, what's 3 times 1? 3. What is 12 divided by 3? 4. So I would have had 2/3 x minus 4. Both of which are acceptable. Everybody cool? So everybody right now is either looking at 2 bracket x minus 6. Yeah? Right? Or they're looking at 2/3 x minus 4.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yes.
What then is on the other side of the equation?
Y plus 2.
No, because we've changed this side. If we did Michael's thing, how did we get to here? I multiplied by 3. So what do I need to do here? Multiply by 3.
1 over
So what would I get here?
1 over 3 y
Plus
2 over
6. Everybody okay with Michael's version? Now, if we did the distributive version, then this over here, has anything happened to this side? No, because all I did was distribute that into the brackets, yeah? So this is still y plus 2. Now, I'm going to do something a little weird here that you guys can't do because you're not working with a computer. I'm going to move that one under there. I'm going to move that one nowhere because it, of course, won't let me because it's a piece of garbage. I'm going to move that under there because what we're going to do now is the same for both, isn't it? Michael's version. Michael, what would you do next if you haven't already done it? Because you wanted to get rid of that fraction first, which we did. What would you do now? You'd fix the brackets to get 3y plus 6 equals 2x minus 12, yeah? And then I'm almost in standard form, aren't I? Because standard form is ax plus by equals 0. So what has to move? Is x positive? So should I move them? No. 2x. Bring the 3y over, minus 3y. Bring that 12 over there. Equals 18. Everybody cool? Everybody cool? Okay. Over here, if you did this version, you got rid of the brackets first. Now what do you not like? What's yucky here? Fraction. How do I get rid of it? Multiply by 3 to get 2x minus 12. And multiply this side by 3 to get 3y plus 6. 2x minus 3y minus 18 equals 0. And there is general form. Yeah? Now, please notice that if you did this side of the room, because you guys in the back corner wanted to get rid of the brackets first, right? If you did that side of the room's move, what do you almost have there in the very first step? Slope-intercept form is mx plus b, right? As soon as y is by itself. Can't we get to y being by itself from one move there? What would it be? Bring that 2 over, right? And it would be y equals 2/3 x minus 6. Is everybody good? Does it matter which direction you choose at the beginning? No. Okay, look at number 5. What do you know? You know 2 points.
And you know it has to be in slope-intercept form.
And you know you need slope-intercept form, which is what? Y equals mx plus b. Now, what did you just say? Or you? One of you said it. You said it correctly the first time, though. You said y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Why are you saying that? Because there's x1, y1, x2, y2, and doesn't that give you slope? And can't that go right in there? Let's do that then. This is really y equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 plus b. What can go in there? What goes in for y2? The way I've written it. Four minus 5 over -2 minus 1, right? And then an x, and then our b. What is 4 minus 5? -1. What is -2 minus 1? -1 over -3 x plus b. What do two negatives give me? 1/3 x plus b. Now I'm in trouble. How am I in trouble?
We don't know the B.
I still don't know b. But what do I have right there and there?
X and Y.
X and y. And what do I have right there and there?
1 and 5.
An x and a y. And what do I have there and there?
2 and X.
An x and a y, which means what can I do with any one of those x's and any one of those y's?
But
Where can I put them?
X and Y.
In the equation. Which is the arguably better one to use?
1 and 5.
Why would you want to use 1 and 5?
Because there's no negative.
There's no negative, and 1 times 1/3 is just 1/3, isn't it? So, put this guy in here. What goes for y? 5 equals 1/3. What goes for x? 1 plus b. What is 1/3 times 1?
1,
5 equals 1/3 plus b. How do I get b by itself? I minus 1/3. What is 5? Take away 1/3. 4 and 2/3. If 4 and 2/3 equals b, what can I write right there? 4 and 2/3. Or 4 and 14/3, right. Anything to be scared of? The form that I ask you for tells you how to do the question, doesn't it? It tells you what you need to find, and I give you everything you need to find it. Number 6 is written very trickily. See if you can solve it. Remember, write down what you know and then decide on a form. Work with a partner, because I wrote that question tricky on purpose. It's not as easy as you think it is when you first read it. Go. Think about all the information that that question gives you, and then think of how you can apply it. These notes will take us to the end of this class. What do I know from this question? I know the slope. What is it? 5/3. Excellent. What else do I know from the question? The x-intercept. Can I use y equals mx plus b with that number? No. Why not, William? Or were you just guessing? It doesn't have a y-intercept. That's the x-intercept. So, I do know something about x-intercepts though, don't I? What are the coordinates of x-intercepts? The x-intercept is 2, 0, isn't it? What value can that 2 go for? Any x. What value can that 0 go for? Any y. So I have an x and a y, and I have a slope. Can I use any form? I could use general form here. I can't use general form. Could I use standard form? Can't use standard form. Can I use slope point form? Yes, because I have a slope and a point. Could I still use y equals mx plus b? Yes, because I have an x and a y. Does it matter which one I use? No. I'm going to do them both because I need you guys to start seeing that there's more than one way to do these questions. Y equals mx plus b. Where can I put all of this information into this equation? What can I put in for y? Right now. 0 equals, what can I put in for m? 5/3. What can I put in for x? 2 plus b. Right? What is 2 times 5/3? 10/3 plus b. How would I get b by itself? I would bring the 10/3 over here, wouldn't I? Negative 10/3 equals b. Now, do I have the m?
Yeah.
Do I have the b? So do I have the answer? What is it? Y equals 5/3 x. What goes in for b? Minus 10/3. Everybody cool? But I could also have used point slope form, yes? What goes in for y1? It's my known point. What would go there? 0. Y minus 0 equals, what's my slope? 5/3. And x minus, what's my known point? 2. Y minus 0 is just y. 5/3 x minus 2. That is a perfectly fine answer because that's point slope form, isn't it? But you could also finish that off to get it to there. What did I do to that question to make it tricky on you? I made it an x-intercept. But was that tricky? Not really, because you know an x-intercept is 2, 0. Everybody good?
Yes.
Your job tonight is to try page 222. We'll do 223 tomorrow before we move on. Just try 222 tonight. And you've got 8 minutes. You could probably get it done right now if you worked.